15 famous actors you'll probably never see again.
One day they were everywhere: box office stars, sitcom favorites, and award-winning performers. The next, they seemed to disappear.
Some walked away by choice.
Others were pushed aside by scandal, illness, burnout, or changing priorities. Fame may look permanent from the outside, but Hollywood has a way of moving on faster than anyone expects. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to Prestige Buzz and turn on the bell notification so you never miss our latest stories about Hollywood's biggest legends and most fascinating careers. Let's take a look at 15 famous actors who stepped away from the spotlight and why.
Rick Moranis. Rick Moranis is one of the rare Hollywood stories that has nothing to do with failure or controversy.
By the late 1980s and early 1990s, he was everywhere.
Audiences loved him in Ghostbusters, Spaceballs, Little Shop of Horrors, and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. His awkward charm made him one of comedy's most beloved stars. Then tragedy changed everything. After his wife, Ann Belsky, passed away from cancer in 1991, Moranis became a single father. Instead of chasing bigger roles, he chose to focus on raising his children. What started as a break became a long absence from Hollywood. He never officially retired.
He simply decided that family mattered more than fame. In an industry obsessed with staying visible, Rick Moranis quietly chose fatherhood over stardom, and fans have respected him ever since.
Randy Quaid.
Randy Quaid built a reputation as one of Hollywood's most dependable character actors. His performances in The Last Detail, National Lampoon's Vacation, Independence Day, and Brokeback Mountain showcased impressive range and talent. But eventually, his work became overshadowed by controversy. Legal troubles, missed court appearances, and bizarre public claims drew attention away from his acting career. As the headlines grew louder, major opportunities became harder to find.
The talent never disappeared. The trust did.
Today, Randy Quaid's absence feels less like retirement and more like a career that slowly drifted away from Hollywood's spotlight.
Renee Zellweger. Renee Zellweger had everything Hollywood promises.
She starred in Jerry Maguire, Bridget Jones's Diary, Chicago, and Cold Mountain.
Awards, acclaim, and constant attention followed her everywhere. Then she walked away.
Between 2010 and 2016, Zellweger took a break from acting to focus on her personal life and well-being. She later explained that she needed time to reconnect with herself beyond the celebrity image.
Her absence wasn't a collapse, it was a reset.
When she returned, she came back stronger than ever, eventually winning another Academy Award for her portrayal of Judy Garland in Judy.
Sometimes stepping away is exactly what allows a person to return with renewed purpose. Jack Gleason.
Millions of viewers hated King Joffrey in Game of Thrones. That was a testament to how brilliantly Jack Gleason played the role. After leaving the show in 2014, many assumed he would immediately become a major Hollywood star. Instead, he stepped away from screen acting.
Fame simply wasn't his priority. Gleason focused on theater, education, and creative projects in Ireland.
Later, he gradually returned to acting, but on his own terms.
His story isn't about a fallen star.
It's about someone who refused to let one famous role define the rest of his life.
Kirk Cameron.
As Mike Seaver on Growing Pains, Kirk Cameron became one of television's biggest teen stars. But as his faith became more important in his life, his career took a different direction. Rather than continue pursuing mainstream Hollywood projects, Cameron focused on faith-based films, family-centered entertainment, and religious media. Movies like Fireproof and the Left Behind series introduced him to a different audience entirely. Whether people agree with his views or not, one thing is clear: his departure from mainstream Hollywood was intentional.
Amanda Bynes.
Amanda Bynes was one of the brightest young talents of her generation. From All That and The Amanda Show to films like She's the Man, Hairspray, and Easy A, she seemed destined for a long Hollywood career.
Then everything changed. At just 24 years old, she announced she was stepping away from acting.
The years that followed brought personal struggles, legal issues, and a lengthy conservatorship.
For many fans, it was heartbreaking to watch.
But Amanda Bynes deserves to be remembered for more than difficult headlines.
She spent years making audiences laugh and eventually chose a quieter life away from the pressure of constant public attention. Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day-Lewis never behaved like a typical movie star. Known for his intense dedication to acting, he delivered unforgettable performances in My Left Foot, There Will Be Blood, and Lincoln. Then, after Phantom Thread in 2017, he announced his retirement. There was no scandal and no dramatic farewell. He simply felt it was time. Years later, however, he returned to acting through a project connected to his family, proving that retirement wasn't necessarily permanent. Daniel Day-Lewis has always followed his own rhythm, and that independence is part of what makes him legendary. Michael J. Fox. Few actors captured the energy and optimism of the 1980s like Michael J. Fox. As Alex P. Keaton on Family Ties and Marty McFly in Back to the Future, he became one of the most beloved stars of his generation. Then came a life-changing diagnosis. In 1991, Fox learned he had Parkinson's disease. For years, he continued acting while privately battling the condition. Eventually, the challenges became too difficult to ignore. Rather than disappear, Fox transformed his struggle into a mission, becoming one of the world's most respected advocates for Parkinson's research. His greatest legacy may extend far beyond acting. Karen Parsons. To millions of fans, Karen Parsons will always be Hilary Banks from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The role made her famous, but it wasn't the only story she wanted to tell. After acting for several years, Parsons shifted her focus toward writing, producing, and education. She founded Sweet Blackberry, an organization dedicated to sharing overlooked stories from African American history. Instead of chasing celebrity, she chose meaningful storytelling. And that may be an even greater accomplishment. Paula Deen. Paula Deen became one of television's most recognizable cooking personalities. Her warm personality and Southern recipes made her a Food Network favorite for years. But in 2013, controversy changed everything. Following revelations during a legal deposition, public backlash led to the loss of major partnerships and television opportunities. While Deen continued working through cookbooks, online content, and business ventures, she never regained the same mainstream television presence. Her story shows just how fragile public trust can be. T.J. Miller. T.J. Miller seemed to be everywhere during the mid-2010s. His breakout role on Silicon Valley and appearances in the Deadpool films made him one of comedy's most recognizable faces. Then controversy began overshadowing his work. Public disputes, legal issues, and negative headlines gradually affected his reputation in Hollywood. Although he continues performing, the momentum that once made him a rising star has largely faded. In Hollywood, talent alone is not always enough. Meg Ryan. For years, Meg Ryan practically defined the romantic comedy genre. When Harry Met Sally, Sleepless in Seattle, and You've Got Mail turned her into America's sweetheart. But eventually, she wanted something different. Ryan stepped away from acting to focus on family, personal growth, and life beyond celebrity culture. Later, she explored directing and writing while maintaining a much lower profile. Her absence wasn't a rejection by audiences. It was a personal decision to reclaim her own life. Kat Dennings. Kat Dennings became a household name thanks to her role as Max Black on Two Broke Girls. When the sitcom ended, some viewers assumed she had disappeared. The reality was much different. Dennings continued working steadily, including appearances in Marvel projects and starring roles in new television series. Her story isn't really about disappearing at all. It's about how quickly public attention shifts once a major hit show ends. Charlie Sheen. At one point, Charlie Sheen was among the highest-paid actors on television. 2.5 Men made him a superstar all over again after an already successful film career. But personal struggles, public controversies, and a highly publicized feud with the show's creators brought that era to an abrupt end. The consequences were enormous. Although Sheen has continued working and openly reflected on his mistakes, he never regained the level of influence he once had. Hollywood can forgive many things, but it rarely restores a fallen throne. Sean Connery. Sean Connery didn't leave Hollywood because audiences stopped caring. He left because he had already achieved everything. After redefining James Bond and proving himself in films like The Untouchables, Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade, and The Hunt for Red October, Connery became one of cinema's most respected actors. By the early 2000s, he was ready for a quieter life. After The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, he stepped away from acting and spent his remaining years largely out of the spotlight. When he passed away in 2020 at age 90, he left behind a legacy few actors could ever hope to match. These stars all left Hollywood for different reasons. Some chose family. Some chose privacy. Others faced challenges that changed everything. But whether they left by choice or circumstance, one thing remains true: audiences still remember them. Fame may fade, but unforgettable performances never really disappear. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like this video, subscribe to Prestige Buzz, and hit the bell notification so you never miss another story about the stars who shaped Hollywood history.